Hey guys, it's Kim from Honey Trail Farm. It is like a fabulously, I wouldn't say warm, but I would say tolerable temperature here for November 2nd. Behind me, all of my fall crops are doing amazingly in the high tunnel. Everything is looking so big and lush and beautiful. We've already harvested probably a handful of cabbages that have been so good, but look how big these plants are. So I've got several different varieties of cabbages in here: Romanesco broccoli, cauliflower, lots of kales, collards, salad greens, carrots, regular broccoli, purple broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. And this is the first time I've ever planted a fall garden. This is the first time I've ever had a high tunnel. As you can see, we still don't have the plastic on. We need to do that soon because the good weather is going to be gone, and then the sad temperatures of winter are gonna come to replace her, and I'm probably gonna even have to double layer so with a layer of plastic over the top, and then probably frost fabric over what's in here. But today, so my plan is for 2023, I kind of want to move my main food crops to be around the high tunnel so that everything is in a central location. I thought that I wanted my garden in the back secluded, picturesque, but the truth is I didn't make it out there often enough because it was so far from the house, and I've got kids and animals and lots of other things to do in a day. So I think I want to try to centralize my food crops, my main food crops, around the high tunnel, because we're going to be filling this with tomatoes and peppers, cucumbers in the springtime. I'm so excited to be able to plant out earlier than outside. While I'm out here by the high tunnel scouting locations for my garlic patch, there's a few things that I want to keep in mind that I didn't think about last year and I learned my lesson on. And maybe if you procrastinated like me and you haven't planted your garlic yet, just some things to think about. So obviously the sun's in a different location, so it might be different now than it is in summer, full sun versus shade. But I was just walking around the back of the tunnel and I hadn't thought about this until I walked back there. This area that the high tunnel is in is like kind of a long skinny patch, and it's slightly sloped downward. So if I were to put my garlic behind the high tunnel in the spring and the fall, when the ground is just soggy from the freeze thaw and the rain and the snow, it'll get flooded out and it could cause some of your cloves to rot. So this area up front is kind of a better option. But you also want to think garlic is a crop where you just plant it and you don't get you get one harvest per plant. So I don't really want it to take up a lot of space that I could use for other things, and I want to kind of keep it out of the way so that it's not in the way of like spring and summer plantings. I've got my location that I'm gonna plant right here. I've got these nice, you know, you're like a gardener when you look at a piece of cardboard and you're like, that is a nice piece of cardboard. What I'm gonna do first is lay out the cardboard in a nice thick layer, because that's what's gonna suppress all the weeds. Weeds are literally the bane of my existence, so I want none. I've got a nice healthy stack of cardboard here. The cardboard is probably 3 to 4 inches thick, and that will actually break down and feed the soil. I've still got a couple stickers and pieces of tape to peel off. You want to make sure that your cardboard is just plain cardboard, no stickers or tape or plastic. And then all I'm gonna do is bring over some wheelbarrows of my homemade compost that is nice and aged and ready to use, and stack it on top. And it is just as easy as that. Behind me is our compost corner, and do not ask me how to make compost. I don't know. All I do is every time I clean out the barn, I pile it in one location. So this right here is this year's barn clean out so far, and this over here is what I hope will be enough to put on my garlic beds, because I used a lot of the compost that I had built up in the high tunnel. And honestly, that's what's saving the high tunnel right now, because the soil underneath was like half gravel. So everything's growing in there. Really happy. So I know this compost is gonna work great. I just need to get to shoveling. I probably loaded the wheelbarrow as much as I can carry now, and I'm out of breath. So I'm back and I've peeled my garlic inside. This was actually garlic that I grew, that I planted last year and harvested in about July. And I just picked the biggest ones. I've got a bunch. I planted so much garlic. But I was gonna show you a little example, on how I plant my garlic, although most of you have probably already planted. Okay, so I'm just peeling. You want to be careful because you want to try to leave as much of the paper stuff on the outside as possible. And then when I pick which cloves I'm going to plant, because last year I planted like pretty much all of them in the bulb. And this year I'm going to just plant the big ones that are towards the outside. So I'm gonna pick the biggest cloves and plant those. Like this one growing next to it is really small. I'm gonna stick that bad boy in my pocket and take it back inside. But I'm just going to pick the biggest ones because in theory, all of the plant's energy is stored in the bulb. So the bigger the one, the bigger garlic head you're gonna get. Last year, I only planted soft neck varieties, which are actually the storage variety types, which look really pretty braided hanging in your pantry, which is what I had. But this year I ordered, actually I just ordered it, so it's not here yet, but I'm gonna leave space over there. I ordered some soft neck varieties because soft neck are the kinds that create the garlic scapes, that sends up basically the flower stalk for the plant, but it's kind of like a chive, like a green onion, and you can slice up and use. And I want garlic scapes. So one of the benefits of planting your garlic in a no-dig setting is you literally just have to stick the clove down in the ground. And then I'm hoping that it's super easy to harvest as well, because I planted last year in a space that had been tilled, and they were so hard to get out of the ground because the ground got compacted around them and I had to dig each one out. So I'm just gonna stick each clove about 4 to 6 inches apart and also 4 to 6 inches deep. And I've got probably 4 inches of compost on this bed. So I'm just gonna stick it all the way down to the cardboard. The cardboard is going to disintegrate, decompose is a better word. The cardboard's gonna decompose and turn back into ground anyway. And when I'm done planting all of the garlic, I'm gonna come on with like a thick layer of either straw or hay, whatever I can find in the barn that we don't need. And that will be plenty of room for the garlic to grow. I've got all the garlic planted right here. I'm just gonna plant enough for my household. I don't think I'm gonna sell any at the farmer's market or anything next year, so I think this will be enough. I did do half the bed because I have some coming in the mail, so I'm gonna leave the second half open so that I can plant my other garlic there. And then after I get my garlic, or my second wave of garlic all down, I will probably mulch then. So I did want to make sure that I marked where I stopped, or else I'll forget, because I'm going to be planting the rest of it later next week. But I found this will work out perfect. This is actually the top to my brooder setup, but that will work perfectly to keep the chickens and cats out of it until they can get established. And then I'll just take the top off and replace it with mulch. But that was so easy, and now I feel accomplished. And I don't know why I always put off things until the last minute, because it's really, I just don't like to make hard decisions about where to put things permanently. That just feels hard. So hopefully you guys have already gotten your garlic in, but if not, this is your last warning. You better get your garlic in. It's literally probably one of the easiest crops that I grow. You plant it and forget it, but you do gotta water it sometimes. Thank you guys for watching today. Until next time.